Welcome back to another episode of the Ark Survival Guide. So today we are going to do a tutorial on how to farm on Ark. We're going to be growing all kinds of crops and some plant species X turrets. Now these are going to give us a huge advantage in this game. There's lots of good reasons to have those. So first off, I'm going to make 2 large crop plots. I've got lots of materials still sitting around. I still haven't used up all the stone from this Dodigerous because that stone gathering trick is just that good. These things are insane. So I'm also going to collect all the dinosaur droppings that I can find because we will actually be finally using those. I don't know if you remember or how long you've been watching, but I have been picking up all the dinosaur poop that I possibly can, and you probably thought I was some kind of weirdo, but I've been saving it up. I've been putting it in compost bins to create fertilizer, and I've also just been collecting it to use. You can use it as itself too. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create these crop plots. A large crop plot is about 1 foundation wide, and I'm going to put this as close to the corner as I possibly can on this raft because this is going to be the base for our plant species X turrets. Now we just returned on the last 2 episodes from a long expedition. We went all around the coast searching for plant species X seeds in the jungle. And every single one of those seeds can grow into a turret. It's really helpful stuff. So I'm just going to move this guy a little bit out of the way. So now we have our plots down, and those are going to serve as the base to grow any kind of crops there. So we can grow any kind of berry seeds, or there's also some advanced crops which are like corn, potatoes, citrus, and carrots. And those are called Citronal, Rockarrots, Savoroot, and Longrass. Those are going to be incredibly helpful because they give a lot of herbivores a major taming bonus. You get more levels from taming them, and they tame faster when you use vegetables on them. And they're also great for cooking in recipes. You can make all kinds of helpful recipes with those vegetables. You can also just eat them raw, and eating like 5 advanced vegetables will give you like almost an entire full food gauge. So we won't have to worry about cooking as much meat, and we'll basically be using most of that for tranquilizers. So it's going to give us a big edge to have those crops. But the first and most important thing I need is these plant species X turrets. So in order to grow a plant, you have to put fertilizer, seeds, and water into those crop plots. Now you can see I'm putting a bag of fertilizer into each and 1 seed. You only need 1 seed per plant. That's all you need, and it'll grow an entire crop worth. And as long as you keep them alive, they will just keep growing and keep producing for you. Now, we have no water in these crop plots, and we're going to need that in order to be able to grow plants. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get into the water and use my flask there, which will gather some water in it. Now I'm going to use square or triangle to access the inventory, and I'm actually going to place the water flask into the inventory and then pull it back out after I use it. Use right trigger to use it, and that'll drop some water in. Now you can see the water now shows 99 out of 600. It used to show 0 out of 600. And as soon as it gets water, fertilizer, and a seed in there, it will immediately start growing. So that first plant species X is already growing, and we're going to put some water into this other one, and that'll start to grow too. Once we have some water, they'll start to grow, and they will start using up fertilizer and water as they're growing. Also, never forget to pull your flask back out of there. I've totally run out of water before because I forgot my flask was sitting in one of my crop plots. So we're going to repeat this process. I will skip ahead so you don't have to watch this over and over again as I jump up and down like 12 times before I max out the water in here. I'm always going to try to keep the water up pretty high because if they run out of water or fertilizer, your plant species X will straight up die. And they actually take a while to grow to maturity. Now these are those plots, they're actually small crop plots that I put up earlier, and you can see they're already producing Narcoberries and Narcoberry seeds. So I planted these narcoberries when I was first taming that Doedicurus a while ago, but I actually lost the footage from that video in the middle of that, so I wasn't able to show you this. But they've just been growing, and I've been able to pull those seeds out for quite some time and use them for all kinds of helpful things. So we've just been making all kinds of narcotics using those narcoberry seeds. So I'm going to move the fertilizer over to the plant species X because it actually uses fertilizer as ammunition. So it will shoot a little glob of poison every time some thing comes up to attack us, and that's going to slow it down dramatically. Now if I've got two plant species X turrets behind the raft like I did, and a whale comes and charges us, as it's coming around to hit us again, the turrets will slow it down so much it won't even be able to keep up with us. So that's how we're going to keep whales from destroying our base. So I came back over here to my compost bin. It's been sitting there for a very long time. You've probably seen me putting stuff in here over and over again. And I've actually got 2 bags of fertilizer already from this. So the way we make compost is we need 3 of any kind of feces. So I'm going to gather up anything I can find. Once again, I look like a super weirdo, but this is totally worth it. So I'm just going to grab all the dinosaur droppings that they're leaving around, and we will put those into the compost bin. Now you need, I think it's 50 thatch and 3 different droppings. They can be any type. I don't think there's any advantage to the size. And we put all of those into the compost bin, and then over time, it takes a really long time for this to go, it will slowly turn into fertilizer. There's faster ways to get fertilizer later on, but for now I'm just going to keep that full of thatch and manure. And when we come back to this later, we'll have some more fertilizer bags. It's kind of weird and convoluted, but we are basically creating ammunition for our turrets, and it's going to be really helpful. So on the way back, I noticed another sea scorpion, and now that we have this really tall base, there's really nothing they can do to hurt us as long as we stay up here. And I love how their tails just stick out, so we can just shoot them. And I'm just going to always kill every sea scorpion that I find because they give us black pearls, which will be helpful much later in the game. And then white pearls are really helpful pretty soon, actually. And we also get chitin, which we can use right now to make cementing paste, which is incredibly helpful. The other way I want to get cementing paste is later on I'm going to try to tame some snails. But in order to get snails, they only eat sweet vegetable cakes. And in order to make those, I'm going to need some really rare ingredients. But one of the big ingredients they use is you have to have one of every kind of advanced crop. So you've got to have all that Savoroot, Longrass, Citronal, and Rockarrots. So I want to build a couple more crop plots, but we ran out of fiber, and now I'm going to make a sickle, which is going to be the fastest way to gather fiber right now. Later on, like in our, I think almost level 70, we can ride a Therizinosaur, which will gather fiber like nobody's business. We'll never run out of fiber at that point. But right now, I'm going to just do a quick, really fast video of me gathering some fiber here. But you can see we've got a couple hundred in no time at all. So, you know, we'd only have like 20 fiber at this point if we were gathering normally. But with this sickle, we can just get crazy amounts of fiber. It's really effective. So I'm just grabbing the last little bits of materials that I need to make some more crop plots, and I'll get those back into the base and make some more crop plots. So we've got our plant species X turrets, and they're growing, but they will take a while to grow. We're not going to be really super safe until those turrets finish growing. So while that's happening, I'm just going to kill some time by creating some more crops. So I want to get those advanced crops because not only are they good for nourishment for me, but they will be really helpful later on. Some other things I need for sweet vegetable cakes, which is the only way to keep snails alive, is I'm going to need honey, which is a whole difficult thing to get a beehive. And I actually have died more times trying to get a beehive than I have on anything else in the game, probably combined. It's not an easy task. Um, and then we will also need tree sap, which I'm going to work on later on too. But for now, I'm just going to get these vegetables growing because they will just continue to grow throughout the game, and we'll just get a lot of good stuff out of these. They'll be incredibly helpful. So I'm going to create some more crop plots, and I'm actually using the foundation tiles, or I guess I should say ceiling tiles, to line these up properly. So we'll just make a nice little arrangement here. I'm putting them towards the center because if I do get attacked by a T-Rex or something, he can actually bite the crop plots and do some damage to them if they're on the edges. But they'll have a little better chance of surviving if they're towards the middle. Now, as far as irrigation goes, you do always have to keep the water there. If we ever run out of water in a crop plot, the plants will immediately die and you have to start all over. So it's good to keep the water in there maxed out as much as you can. And about once a day it will rain. I always play in tropical climates, so I'm not really sure how it does in different biomes, but in the tropics it rains every single day, and that will actually be more than enough to keep the water maxed out. Every time it rains, it's usually going to max out the water in your crop plots, and so that makes it really easy for you. But for now, I'm just manually going up and down and filling it up one flask at a time. You can get much better flasks. You can get canteens and water jars later on. And a water jar you can use, I think, 2 times, which will get about 200 water in there per trip. And I can also use multiple water flasks to save the amount of trips I go up and down. But for now, I'm just gonna, do this the quick way and not worry about making more stuff. So the crop plots that I want to get are going to be the advanced crops. I'm making vegetables at this point. So I'll be grabbing some seeds for those, which I've been saving up throughout the game. And just as we've been collecting and harvesting things, we've gotten a few seeds here or there. They're actually a pretty rare thing to find, so I've been saving them throughout the entire game right for this moment. And so I'm just going to grab each of the ones that I want to put in there, and I will put those in the crops and get those going too. And I think I'll go ahead and end the video here so you don't have to watch me jumping up and down over and over to fill up the water on those crop plots. But yeah, that's how you farm on Ark, and tune in next episode and we'll make preparations to go and tame another dinosaur. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.